So to explain exactly why I started over and opted for a more simple morning routine, you first need to understand what the ideal morning routine looked like in my head.
6 a.m, time to get out of bed and put on my workout clothes. 6:50 a.m, finish up my workout and go for a walk. 7:20 a.m, shower, then make a potential cup of coffee. 7:50 a.m, drink coffee and read. 8:20 a.m, time block every last minute of the day with the intensity of a serial killer. 8:30 a.m, journal to prove to myself that I'm not a serial killer. 8:45 a.m, spend 30 minutes learning before getting to work. 9:15 a.m, start work. Too exhausted to focus.
For years I obsessed over trying to build the perfect morning routine. Every few weeks I would tweak how I was starting my days in an attempt to be more productive and more effective. But this obsession with trying to create the perfect morning routine was exhausting. Instead of improving the quality of my life and helping me get more done throughout the day, it was draining me of my energy and making me resent the things I typically enjoy, like working out and reading. Being obsessed with trying to craft the perfect morning routine was making me miserable, and it's likely making you miserable too.
It's easy to see why we get so fixated on building the perfect morning routine. Every self-help book, blog, YouTube channel and successful leader tells us how to spend what is often referred to as the most important hours of the day. They all swear by different hacks that they claim make them 10 times more productive. We feel the need to optimize every waking second, pulling us in different directions with conflicting information from every side. Something that started out as a well-intentioned way to design a happier and healthier life turned into an overly complex industry, focused on milking every last bit of productivity by cramming more and more into the first few hours of the day.
But this push to constantly be more productive, more efficient, to use our time better, to automate, to delegate, to outsource, can quickly become toxic. It's easy to always feel in the back of your mind that you should be doing more, that you should be blocking every last second in your calendar, or waking up at 5 a.m, or even working longer hours. We try to cram more and more into each 24 hours, prioritizing productivity over happiness and output over enjoyment. But at least in my experience, the whole reason I got into entrepreneurship, self-development, and trying to follow an untraditional path was to live a better, happier, and healthier life, not just to be more productive or more efficient. Because when we focus so much on trying to be more productive, even when we do improve, there's always this feeling like we should be doing more, we should be earning more, we should be working more, we should be working harder. It feels like you're always leaving something on the table in life. It took me a really long time to realize that no matter how productive I was, no matter how much money I earned, there would always be a feeling like I could be doing more and like I should be doing more. But really, in trying to optimize everything, you trap yourself. By setting your standards incredibly high just to get to a baseline every day with your morning routine, you're making failure inevitable. A routine that takes you hours every single day to complete is fragile. As soon as things go slightly off track, your routine will break, and before you know it, your whole day's been thrown off. In my experience, whenever I've tried to create this perfect morning routine and stack every good habit in there, it's quickly become overwhelming. As soon as your routine's even slightly thrown off, it creates pressure on the rest of the routine. If you're trying to do as much as you possibly can with those first few hours in the day, whenever there's a tiny bit of disruption, it's going to affect the rest of your day. And another thing that I've experienced is that when I try cram as much as possible into those first few hours of the day, it tends to put me in a bad mood for when I actually get to work. I'm someone who really doesn't like having too much crammed in, too much structure. Instead of trying to create the perfect morning routine, I think that instead we should follow a simple system that helps us to focus on the few things that are most important, and a routine that provides a platform to build upon every day.
For me, that simple routine needs to do 3 things. First, make me feel energized. Second, help me focus on the most important things I need to get done that day. And finally, be robust and adaptable enough to do every single day. And here's what that simple routine currently looks like. First, I wake up at 6 a.m, typically trying to get to bed by 10 p.m. and getting a full 8 hours, but life sometimes gets in the way. I make sure to keep my alarm across the room so that I get out of bed straight away. I set my lights to turn on at 6 a.m. as another deterrent to stop me from going back to sleep. Then I grab a drink of water and head straight out the door for a short walk. This is mainly to wake me up and get some sun, but as usual, there's no sun in England. I then go for a quick shower and stare blankly thinking about life for a little while. Once that mini existential crisis is done, it's time for a cup of coffee, which provides me enough motivation to get out of the shower. After I've made the coffee, I'll go sit and read. I try to read at least 1 chapter per day, but that doesn't always happen. Some days I'll spend 5 minutes reading, others I'll spend the best part of an hour. Then I'll talk to Simone before we both get on with our days, and finally I'll do my morning pages and plan what I'm going to do that day.
So every day I use a simple framework to make sure I'm clear on what I need to get done that day and make sure that I'm focused on the most important tasks. I currently use Roam Research for this, but in the past I've used multiple other tools and even pen and paper. So I'm going to show you through my Roam setup. This kind of thing would work in any app or even in a little journal. And if this is something that you think you want to potentially use, then I'd advise just taking little parts from this and adapting that, because I've kind of, with this whole system, taken parts from things called Morning Pages and a bunch of other systems and kind of created a little framework that I can work through every day to make sure I'm focused and doing the right things. Okay, so jumping into Roam Research, you'll notice that I have a text expander over here. And all Text Expander does is make it really easy for me to have this whole template directly into Roam by just typing in this abbreviation. So every day I will come in here, type in the abbreviation, and you will see that I have Morning Pages and then a bunch of different things to do down here. So inside of Roam, the way this works is I have like a little task to read my vision, and really this is making sure that I get the things done in that top right-hand quadrant of the Eisenhower matrix. So those are typically things that are non-urgent, but they're really important. So for me, that is things like this YouTube channel, and it's the things that I want to build long term. So I will read through that vision. You can see up here, I've already done this morning's pages. Then once I've read through the vision, I go through to my weekly plan. So you can see I open the vision in the side, and then I have my vision down here. Then I go through my weekly plan. So this is just like a few basic tasks every day, and then write that out on a piece of paper as well. So I then just have my tasks on a little piece of paper in a little notepad. After that, there is just like a focus section. So this is making sure the main things that I want to focus on right now, making sure I'm clear on what my focus is and where I should be spending my time. Then there's a little bit of kind of Morning Pages. So this is like how I'm feeling, a little bit of a check-in. Normally just write like 1 or 2 sentences out for this. And the next section is really focusing on what I'm actually going to get done that day. So today will be a success if and that tends to only be one thing. So I try focus on just getting one really big important thing done every single day. And then I have another one, because my time's kind of split between freelance work and then trying to build my own stuff. I have how I'm making progress on the things that I want to achieve. So typically my days might be split half and half might be freelancing, half might be working on my own stuff. So this one here is just to make sure that I'm actually making some sort of progress every single day on things like the YouTube, things like my blog and all that kind of stuff. Then finally, I have a kind of little gratitude section. And with all these sections, I just write as much as I'm feeling every day. There's no set amount that I need to write for each of these. I don't even need to necessarily like answer them. Some days I will just kind of leave them blank, but most days I will fill this out. Then finally, I have a journal section. This is something that I don't typically actually use all that much, but let's say I go through the day and I have this kind of closed, and there's just something I want to write down or something I want to write out, then I typically just write inside the journal in Roam. As you can see, this system's really simple. It's really just a case of making sure that I am focused for the day and I have some morning pages just to get clear on what I need to do, and also kind of check in with how I'm feeling that day. This system is something that I do, I would say 95% of the time. This is something that's kind of just become a habit. It's the first thing I do when I log onto my computer in the morning. And then from here, I never really come back and check over this stuff, but it's there to just make sure that my vision is kind of set and I know exactly what the most important things to do that day are. And that's my simple morning routine. Now your routine will look a lot different to mine because you have different goals, you have different priorities. But from my experience, I've found that as soon as I stopped trying to focus on stacking every good habit into those first few hours of the day, it made it much easier for me to focus on what's most important. I'd have much more energy for the rest of the day, and in general, I've just been much happier. On the days that I'm rushed, a simple routine like this can easily be compacted down. If I can manage to do this routine in some form every single day, then I'm much more likely to do it over the long haul. But really the one thing I hope you take away from this video is that it really doesn't matter exactly what you do in those first few hours of the day. It's more important to just find the things that make you feel fully awake and help you focus on the most important things. Once you have that, you just need to make sure that the system is simple enough that you can do it every single day. A morning routine doesn't have to be overly complex. All it needs to do is provide you with a platform to build upon every day. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider signing up to my newsletter called The Sunday Filter. It's one email every week covering interesting ideas on creativity, self-development and entrepreneurship. And I'd also be really interested in hearing about your morning routines. What have you found that works best for you, and how are you adapting that over time? Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.